All right, let's talk about the next big thing from Samsung, the Galaxy S26 Ultra. I mean, it is shaping up to be an absolute beast of a phone, but it might be hiding a seriously fiery secret. And look, this isn't just some vague rumor. The alarm bells are already going off online. Tech heads are getting their hands on the processor that's going into this new phone, and they're seeing it get so hot, it just shuts down. That is not normal. So the source of all this incredible power, and yeah, the source of the problem, is Qualcomm's brand new flagship chip, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. See, Samsung is betting the farm on this chip for its most expensive phone. They want to claim the title for the most powerful phone out there, but this thing might just be too hot to handle. And what should be their biggest advantage could turn into a huge, epic liability. And we're not just guessing here. We're already seeing the proof pop up in other devices. The OnePlus 15, for example, is one of the first to use this new Snapdragon, and reports are already coming in that it has some serious overheating problems, especially when you push it hard with games or heavy apps. So, the really fascinating part is why. Why is this chip generating so much heat? Let's pop the hood and break down what's causing this potential inferno. It all boils down to this number right here. When this chip is under load, it can pull an absolutely wild 22 watts of power. Now, to give you some perspective on how crazy that is the same amount of power that a full-blown CPU in a slim Ultrabook laptop uses. We're talking laptop-level power consumption crammed inside a sealed, fanless phone. Think about that for a second. And this chart, wow, it just lays it all out there. When you put it up against its biggest rival from Apple, the Snapdragon is sucking down over 60% more power to do a similar job. All that extra energy has to go somewhere, right? Well, it goes straight to heat. The root of the problem is really baked into its architecture. You see, most phone chips have these little low-power efficiency cores to handle easy background stuff without getting hot. This one, it doesn't have any. Zero. Instead, it just ramps up two of its monster prime cores to an insane 4.61 gigahertz, even for simple tasks. It's like a car that only has one gear, full throttle. So this all brings us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? Can the Galaxy S26 Ultra actually deal with this thing? We're hearing Samsung only made the phone's cooling system about 20% bigger. Is that really going to be enough to tame this beast? Okay, but here's where the story takes a really interesting twist. While Samsung's planning to use Qualcomm's fiery chip in its best phone, it turns out Samsung's own chip division might just have an unlikely hero waiting in the wings. Say hello to the Exynos 2600. It's built on some seriously next-gen tech called gates all-around transistors. The simplest way to think about it is it's a much smarter 3D design for the tiniest switches on the chip. It's specifically built to stop power from leaking out, which means it's way more efficient. You know, the exact opposite of the Snapdragon's problem. And the results, well, they speak for themselves. This new 2-nanometer process has some real clear wins over the last generation. It's a little more powerful, sure, but it's significantly more efficient. And it's physically smaller. But here's the kicker. A cool new chip is useless if you can't actually make it reliably. And it looks like Samsung has cracked the code. Their manufacturing yields, basically the number of good chips they get out of every batch, have doubled. They're now at 60%, which is more than enough to say this chip is ready for prime time. So this isn't just about efficiency on a spreadsheet. We're talking about a massive 30% improvement in keeping it cool. This is a chip that promises top-tier performance without threatening to melt a hole in your pocket. Okay, so you've got this chip war brewing inside Samsung itself. Why should you care? Well, this whole situation has huge implications for Samsung's strategy and, yeah, for customers like us. First up, let's talk money, plain and simple. For every single phone that Samsung puts its own Exynos chip into instead of buying one from Qualcomm, they save somewhere between $20 and $30. Now multiply that by millions of phones. It adds up fast. And that $20 or $30 per phone, that is a huge deal for a company trying to boost its profit margins. It makes an incredibly strong case for Samsung to just say, you know what, we're going all in on our own chips, especially if their silicon is the one that doesn't overheat. And here's where it all comes together for you, the person who might actually buy one of these. Samsung is setting up a fascinating real-world showdown. The top-of-the-line Ultra is getting the super powerful but super hot Snapdragon.
But the regular S26 and S26 Plus models, they're getting the cool, efficient in-house Exynos chip. We're about to see these two philosophies go head-to-head. So it all comes down to this massive strategic question for one of the biggest phone makers on the planet. Are their engineers going to find a way to tame Qualcomm's fire-breathing dragon? Or will all the heat and power problems finally push them to bet on their own, more efficient champion for all their phones in the future? The answer isn't just going to shape the next Samsung phone. It could change the game for the entire Android world.